Imagine standing on the edge of an abyss, staring into a darkness so absolute that nothing, not even light, can escape. A place where time itself slows to a crawl and the very fabric of reality warps in ways that defy understanding. Now imagine that this abyss isn't just a distant cosmic phenomenon, but everything we've ever known. Our planets, our stars, our galaxies, even the vast cosmic void beyond them. What if the entire universe itself is trapped inside a colossal black hole? This idea sounds more like science fiction than science fact. But what if I told you that some of the brightest minds in physics have seriously considered this possibility? That some of the strangest features of our universe, from the way space expands to the nature of time itself, suggest we might not be living in an open, ever-expanding cosmos, but rather inside the event horizon of an unimaginably massive black hole? If true, this would change everything we think we know about reality. To understand why this idea is even possible, we first need to take a closer look at what black holes really are, and why they might hold the key to understanding our own existence. The nature of black holes, cosmic monsters. That defy logic at their core, black holes are regions in space where gravity is so overwhelmingly strong that nothing, not even light, can escape their pull. They are formed when a massive star collapses under its own gravity, creating a singularity, a point of infinite density where space and time as we know them cease to function. Surrounding this singularity is an invisible boundary known as the event horizon, the point of no return. Anything that crosses it, whether it's a spaceship, a planet, or even a beam of light, is permanently trapped. But here's where things get interesting. From an outside observer's perspective, something falling into a black hole appears to slow down indefinitely, never quite reaching the singularity. However, for the object itself, time continues normally. This distortion of time and space inside a black hole is eerily similar to something we see happening in our own universe, and that brings us to one of the biggest mysteries in modern cosmology. How did our universe begin? The Big Bang versus a black hole's singularity. The leading theory about the birth of our universe is the Big Bang theory, which proposes that everything we see today, the stars, the galaxies, even space and time itself, originated from a single, infinitely dense point, a singularity. Sound familiar? That's because a black hole also contains a singularity, an infinitely dense point where the laws of physics as we understand them completely break down. This has led some physicists to wonder, what if the singularity that gave birth to our universe wasn't an isolated event, but actually the result of something much bigger? What if the Big Bang wasn't the beginning of everything, but just the moment we crossed the event horizon of a black hole inside a parent universe? In other words, our universe could be inside a black hole that formed in a much larger cosmos, a higher dimensional space that we can never perceive from inside our own universe. But wait, this idea isn't just a random speculation. There are actual concrete observations that suggest our universe behaves exactly as it would if it were inside a black hole. Does our universe behave like the inside of a black hole? One of the most fascinating things about our universe is that it's expanding. In 1929, astronomer Edwin Hubble discovered that distant galaxies are moving away from us, meaning the universe is stretching over time. But here's where things get even weirder. Not only is the universe expanding, but this expansion is also accelerating. Scientists believe this is due to a mysterious force called dark energy, but what if there's another explanation? If we were inside a black hole, we'd expect to see space stretching around us in all directions, exactly like the expansion of the universe. In fact, some mathematical models of black holes predict that time flows differently inside than outside. Could it be that the cosmic acceleration we observe is actually a result of the time distortion caused by the black hole we're trapped? In another major clue comes from something called the cosmic microwave background radiation, CMB, a faint glow of radiation left over from the early universe. Scientists believe this radiation is the cooled remnant of the Big Bang. But if we are inside a black hole, it might actually be the imprint of the event horizon we can never escape. And then there's the holographic principle, one of the most bizarre but widely studied theories in modern physics. The holographic principle. Are we just a projection? First proposed by Gerard 't Hooft and later developed by Leonard Susskind, the holographic principle suggests that all the information contained in a three-dimensional space can actually be encoded on a two-dimensional surface. This means that everything we experience as a solid three-dimensional universe might actually be a projection from a lower-dimensional boundary, just like how a hologram appears three-dimensional but is actually encoded on a two-dimensional surface. Now apply this to black holes. Scientists have already discovered that the information about everything that falls into a black hole does not disappear, but instead seems to be stored on the event horizon. If that's true, and if we are inside a black hole, then that means our entire universe, everything we see, hear, and experience, might actually be a holographic projection on the event horizon of a much larger black hole. This would explain a lot of strange things in quantum physics, such as why particles seem to know about each other instantaneously, even when separated by vast distances. If everything is just a projection, then reality as we perceive it might be an illusion, an elaborate cosmic mirage. But if this is true, it raises an even more terrifying question: what happens when a black hole dies? According to Stephen Hawking's groundbreaking work, black holes aren't eternal. They slowly lose energy through a process known as Hawking radiation, gradually shrinking until they eventually disappear. If our universe is inside a black hole, then does that mean we are also doomed to vanish when our black hole evaporates? Or could something else happen? Could the collapse of one black hole actually lead to the birth of another universe? This idea aligns perfectly with the multiverse theory, the idea that reality isn't just one universe, but an endless cycle of universes, each born from the death of another. If true, then black holes might not be cosmic endings at all, but rather the wombs of new universes, each one birthing a reality as complex as our own. If that's the case, then our universe might not be the first, and it won't be the last. But this still leaves one final chilling mystery. If we are inside a black hole, is there any way out? And more importantly, how could we ever prove it? Could we ever escape if we're inside a black hole? If our universe is trapped inside a black hole, then the question arises, is escape even possible? Could we somehow break free from the gravitational prison that binds us? Or are we doomed to remain forever inside, unable to ever see or understand the greater reality beyond our cosmic horizon? To answer this, let's consider what happens when something falls into a black hole. From an outside observer's perspective, anything approaching the event horizon appears to slow down, its movement stretching into eternity. But for the object itself, time proceeds normally as it plunges inward. Now, imagine that we, as a universe, are falling into an even larger black hole within a higher dimensional cosmos. From an external observer's point of view, our entire cosmic history, from the Big Bang to the present and beyond, might be unfolding in an instant. To them, our universe could already be deep inside the singularity, while to us, time still flows as expected. This means that escape is theoretically impossible, at least in the way we traditionally understand it. The event horizon is a one-way membrane. Once something passes it, no signal, object, or traveler can return. But what if there's another way? Some physicists believe that black holes might have wormholes, shortcuts through space-time that could connect different regions of the universe, or even different universes entirely. If this is true, then it might be possible that our black hole universe is connected to another region of space through a hidden cosmic tunnel. Some extreme theories even suggest that black holes could serve as gateways to parallel universes, meaning the collapse of a star in one universe could create a whole new reality in another. But that's not the only bizarre possibility. Some scientists argue that black holes might not even have singularities at all, but instead, what we think of as a black hole could actually be a doorway to an entirely different kind of existence. To understand why, we need to look at one of the most mind-bending ideas in modern physics, the nature of space-time itself. Is space-time an illusion? One of the strangest things about black holes is that they seem to break the fundamental rules of physics. At the singularity, Gravity becomes infinite, time stops, and our current understanding of the universe simply ceases to work. But what if the problem isn't the black hole itself, but rather our perception of reality? Some physicists believe that space and time as we understand them are not fundamental, that they are merely emergent properties of a much deeper reality. If true, then the concept of an inside or outside of a black hole might not even be relevant at the most fundamental level of physics. This brings us to a radical new idea, one that could completely change our understanding of the universe. What if black holes aren't objects at all, but rather they are defects in the very fabric of reality? According to a new theory called EREPR, proposed by physicist Juan Maldacena and others, black holes could be deeply connected to quantum entanglement. In simple terms, this suggests that what we perceive as a black hole might actually be a link between two distant points in space-time, and possibly even different dimensions. If that's true, then our universe might not be inside a black hole, in the traditional sense, but rather it could be part of a larger cosmic network where information flows between different realities through black hole connections. This would explain many mysteries, such as why quantum mechanics and general relativity seem to contradict each other. It could also mean that our entire existence is part of a larger, unseen cosmic system, one where black holes are not endings, but rather intersections in the great web of reality. But this idea leads to a mind-blowing question. If black holes are connected to different regions of space-time, then where does our universe actually exist? The parent universe hypothesis, a universe within a universe. If we are inside a black hole, then it must have formed from something larger, a parent universe that contains our own. But what would this larger reality look like? Could it be similar to our universe, or something completely beyond our comprehension? Some scientists have proposed that if our universe exists inside a black hole, then the parent universe must be at least one dimension higher than ours. This means that while we experience a 3D universe moving through time, the greater reality might have 4 spatial dimensions instead of 3. To illustrate this, imagine a 2-dimensional creature, a flatlander, living on a piece of paper. If that paper is crumpled into a sphere, the flatlander would have no idea they are now inside a higher dimensional structure. To them, their world would seem infinite, even though it is actually enclosed within a 3D object. Now, apply this idea to us. We might feel like we are in an infinite universe, but in reality, we could be inside a 4-dimensional structure, trapped within the event horizon of a black hole that exists in a larger cosmic landscape. But this raises a terrifying question. What happens when our parent universe itself reaches its end? If black holes eventually decay through Hawking radiation, then does that mean our universe will eventually fade away as well? Or will the death of one universe simply lead to the birth of another, continuing an eternal cycle of creation and destruction? This idea fits perfectly with a theory called cosmological natural selection, which suggests that black holes are not just destructive, but they actually generate new universes inside them. This means our universe may not be the first, and it won't be the last. But if this is true, then it forces us to rethink the biggest question of all: the nature of reality. Is the universe even real? If we are inside a black hole, and if space-time is just an emergent property of a deeper reality, then we must ask, is our universe truly real, or is it just a temporary simulation of physics, governed by laws that exist only inside this cosmic bubble? This brings us to a radical idea known as the simulation hypothesis, the notion that our universe is not an independent, self-contained reality, but rather it exists within a larger computational framework. If black holes function as cosmic processors of information, then could it be that our reality is just a programmed simulation running on the event horizon of a black hole? Some physicists, like John Wheeler, have even suggested that information is the fundamental building block of reality, not matter or energy. This idea, known as it from bit, proposes that the universe is essentially a massive quantum computer, where everything, stars, planets, even consciousness itself, is simply data being processed at the most fundamental level. If this is true, then it means we might never truly escape the black hole, because we were never truly inside it to begin with. Instead, our universe might be nothing more than a vast self-sustaining illusion generated by the flow of quantum information at the edge of an unfathomable cosmic system. But if we are just part of a simulation, then who or what is running it? The ultimate question: who or what created this reality? If our universe exists inside a black hole, and if black holes are gateways to deeper cosmic structures, then we are left with an unsettling question: who or what created this vast system? Is there a higher intelligence behind it, or is this an endless chain of universes forming and evolving without any guiding force? To answer this, let's examine some of the leading theories about the origin of everything. The infinite universe. Hypothesis: no beginning, no end. One possibility is that the universe has always existed in some form, an infinite cycle of black holes creating new universes, which in turn spawn more black holes, continuing forever. This idea is based on the theory of cosmological natural selection, proposed by physicist Lee Smolin. According to this theory, black holes act like cosmic seeds, each one forming a new universe with slightly different physical laws. Universes with favorable conditions, like stable atoms, stars, and galaxies, would naturally produce more black holes, leading to even more universes. Over time, this would create a vast multiverse, with universes evolving just like living organisms. In this scenario, there was never a single creator, only an endless cycle of formation and destruction. The laws of physics themselves might have evolved over time, becoming more stable in each new universe. But this raises an even deeper question. If black holes keep creating universes, where did the first one come from? That's where things get really strange. The holographic universe. Are we just a projection? Some physicists believe that our universe isn't what it seems. So instead of being a three-dimensional space, it might actually be a holographic projection, a vast illusion created by information stored on the surface of a higher dimensional black hole. This idea, known as the holographic principle, was proposed by physicists Gerard 't Hooft and Leonard Susskind. It suggests that everything we see, from galaxies to human consciousness, is just a shadow of deeper reality encoded at the edge of space-time. Think of a hologram on a credit card. It looks three-dimensional, but it's actually just a flat surface encoding all the necessary information. Similarly, our universe could be a higher dimensional structure projected from the surface of a cosmic black hole. If this is true, then what we experience as space and time do not exist independently. They are just the way our minds interpret the vast flow of quantum information. But if our reality is a projection, then who or what is projecting it? The simulation hypothesis. Are we living in a cosmic program? One of the most controversial ideas is that our entire universe is a simulation, a vast complex program running on a higher dimensional computer. This concept, popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom, suggests that if advanced civilizations exist, they might have the power to create fully simulated universes, just like we create video games. If true, then we are not inside a physical black hole at all, but rather inside a computational construct, where every atom, star, and galaxy is nothing more than bits of information being processed. Some scientists even believe that we might be able to detect this by looking for glitches in the fabric of space-time, tiny inconsistencies in physics that could reveal the limits of our cosmic code. For example, researchers have discovered that the universe seems to have a fundamental resolution limit, just like pixels on a screen. The smallest possible scale, known as the Planck length, acts like the smallest pixel in our reality, beyond which space itself ceases to exist. Could this be evidence that we are living in a simulated reality? And if so, then who built it? The God equation. Is the universe the product of consciousness? One of the deepest questions in physics is why the universe has laws at all. Why does reality follow mathematical principles instead of pure chaos? Why is there something rather than nothing? Some scientists and philosophers argue that consciousness itself might be fundamental to reality. Instead of space, time, and matter forming first, they suggest that consciousness created the universe, not the other way around. The famous physicist John Wheeler once proposed a radical idea called the participatory universe. He suggested that the universe does not exist in a definite state until it is observed, meaning that reality itself depends on conscious beings to bring it into existence. If this is true, then black holes, space, and even time itself might be constructs of consciousness. In other words, reality is not a physical place, it is a mental phenomenon. Some scientists take this idea even further, suggesting that the universe might be a self-aware entity. If the cosmos is a vast, interconnected system of information, then could it be thinking? Could it be alive? The final question. Are we trapped or are we free? If our universe is inside a black hole, then we may never escape. But does that mean we are prisoners? Or could this black hole be the ultimate cosmic cradle, one that gave birth to everything we know? Perhaps black holes are not tombs but wombs, vast incubators for new universes, each one emerging from the ashes of the previous. Perhaps every black hole we see in the cosmos is a gateway to a new reality, where life, time, and consciousness begin anew. And if that's true, then maybe, just maybe, our own universe is not the first, maybe it won't be the last, and maybe we are part of something far greater than we could ever imagine.